Sorenamea Kesainena Kisi, welcome. Sarenanemaka Sarenika Sareniniaka. Let's take a deep inhale and a full exhale through the mouth. Okay, let's do it one more time. Coming into the space, deep inhale and exhale through the mouth. Beautiful, beautiful. Welcome. In this episode, I will be talking about psychedelic intelligence. And it's an honor, honestly, to talk about this without being fearful of talking about it. I had to go through a massive process of being okay with who I am and being okay of saying the practices and the medicine that have actually helped me through my awakening process. And a big part of my journey has for sure been about psychedelics. And it's great to see that nowadays there's all this information around, and also so many people are using it, for depression, for PTSD. So there's a lot of studies now showing that for sure help us. Back when I was growing up and living in Peru, when I was a little girl, all these things were seen as total drugs that will mess you up. And being a little girl, I honestly had no idea. No idea. So I was like, well, if that's what people say, I guess, And through my journey, I noticed that it wasn't like that. And perhaps in some kind of shape or form, it does affect negatively to some others, depending if they are taking medicine or something that's going on in them systems. But for me, it has been something so empowering. And I'm speaking from the depth of my soul, from my experience, just to bring awareness that it's not bad. And it's not bad for me. It's not bad for our brothers and sisters that I really connect with and I really trust. And this is not me telling you go take psychedelics, okay? Just disclosure. This is just me sharing my story about this wonderful medicine that is here for us and that has so much intelligence. Oh, wow. I'm already feeling it in my heart, like the expensiveness as I'm just talking about this and tapping into this field. My very first big awakening process that happened when I first moved out of the States in 2019 was through a psychedelic journey. And granted, of course, maybe you might resonate with this. There were many times in my journey prior to that I would just take it to have fun and get messed up. I didn't really care, honestly, but there was something so pure in it. Just feeling the bliss, even when I was super suicidal, and just enjoying presence. And I had no idea what presence meant, really. And the moment that I started to honor it and setting up my intentions, this is why I say intentions are your access points. Setting up my intentions, really, it just changed it all. Because then I honored this medicine. I see it as medicine. I know there is something in it, some kind of intelligence that can guide me through any kind of journey. It can guide me through any kind of space that I'm in if I can't really figure out. And then I surrender and trust it. And this is what happened in this 3-day awakening process that I had, which opened up the space to remember the light language and many other things that come through in my system nowadays. And it was wonderful. It was wonderful just to be in it, just to be in it. Presence. If you don't know my story, I suffer from bulimia and anorexia for over 20 years, since I was 8 years old or something. Then I suffer from depression, from anxiety. I had horrible self-sabotaging patterns, horrible. And I didn't even know I had them. But of course, I totally dislike myself. And I'm going to change this words. I hated myself. Like literally, I wouldn't even look in the mirror actually. But the moments that I had to, I'd just be like, oh, why do you look like this? Why can't I just change something about you? And if you resonate with that pain, like, goodness, to get where I am, it took a lot of work and a lot of sitting, a lot of sitting with myself and sitting with medicine. I see psychedelics as medicine. And so a lot of those journeys were completely painful. But what I really love about psychedelics is like the intelligence of it. It shows you that there's no time. It's like what we call time and space collapses. And you can tap into anything that is part of your journey to remember or to put an end on cycles in your family lineage. And that's what happened to me in the 3-day awakening process that I had. Because through that, I tapped into the Tawantinsuyo, which it was, the Incan civilization. And of course, I remember that after that, I was like, whoa, I was alive there and I was this and that. Yes, like part of me, yes, it was, because it's in my blood, it's in my lineage. But was I really there? I realized that after so many journeys that something was shown to me so that I could really see how things happened. So then I could actually have more compassion, not just for myself, but everybody else in my lineage and everybody else that has that in their system. So when I saw that Tawantinsuyo just being destroyed, it wasn't something like, it wasn't easy to see, honestly. It was horrible to see. It was so horrible to see. I was like there, like watching real life happening, women being murdered, being raped, babies being killed, like all this fire, all this destruction, and there was no compassion whatsoever in the eyes of the people that were doing it. There was no compassion. And all that pain, it was in me, in my heart. And I don't just believe that it's in me, but I also believe that it's in all of us, because I don't resonate with that thing that says my story, my country, it's like, it's our story. Even if you were born in the opposite side of the world of Peru, the Incan civilization is still part of your story because you're a human being. Because for some reason, we're here at this moment in time together and we're experiencing this and we're remembering each other. You're remembering yourself as I am remembering myself every single day. And so it was so powerful to see, and honestly, just like, just to remember that it's like, wow, it did happen, it did happen. But why did it show me that? It was showing me all of that because of the rise of the feminine, for the balance of all our energies inside of us. And for many other reasons, obviously, there's not just one reason that this whole thing happens. But here is with the intelligence of life, based on your intuition and based on your intentions, it opens up this portal for you to experience that which you're meant to experience and that which you're meant to see and feel. So something in you awakens. So you remember. So how could you not have reverence for this medicine? That at times it might shake you like left and right like crazy. At times it might actually drop into your knees. Goodness, it has dropped me to my knees so many times. But I go with it with this openness in me, like, And so I just fully trust you, even if I'm crying like crazy, even if I'm experiencing deep pain. I know that this is for a reason, and the reason is always the greatest good of me and others. So therefore, how could I say no to that? How could I not have reverence? And so through all these experiences, it's just brought so much peace and so much compassion. And it even also, my work, and not just as, what I choose to call work, right? Lesson like guiding women through their awakening process and empowering them and so on. But my work as being me, as being this human, as being this multidimensional being, as just being, it's just brought so much, that how can we even say that it's a drug that doesn't even do us right? Like whoever came up with that, I mean, you did a really good job to like really put the fear into the collective. So we're like, oh gosh, no, like it's gonna get us messed up. And then so people just hear it and they don't even know it. They just repeat it, right? That was my story. I totally repeated it too, because like, well, that's what I have heard since I was a kid. Until then I experienced it. Until all this love opened up. I remember my first psychedelic journey. I was at home with my ex and our puppies. And I was like watching this thing on the screen that he had placed, kind of like goes in circles and the dot at the center and it moves, right? And I was so like fascinated by that movement that it like took me into this trance-like state. And I was out of my body, yet I was watching my body. And I remember my puppy, Toby, like came onto my lap and he was like licking my face, and I'm like, I love you too. But I was like somewhere far out of my body. And at one moment, my heart coincided with the beat of the universe. And at that moment, every single human opened up their eyes. And I saw my eyes in every single human. And I just remember the peace that happened. And not just the peace, I mean, there was so much going on in my system because back then I was still like highly suicidal, highly depressed. And so to feel that was like, holy smokes. And I was in tears because it was so beautiful. Have you ever experienced that when there's just a moment that is beyond what we call beauty? It is like everything, and you're like, wow. And I came out of that and just went to my ex and I was just sharing with him. And from that day on, I told myself, I'm going to experience that in my life without anything. And I kid you not that I do. I do. And it's fantastic that it has been those journeys, those psychedelic journeys that had helped me. And of course, I'm not saying I've just been doing all the psychedelic journeys like crazy, but that medicine is in us. That medicine is in us. We are that medicine as well. It's not separate from us. So without even taking a psychedelic, I've gone into these journeys with my own being, with my own energies through the whole Kundalini awakening process. And let me tell you, of course, it hasn't been easy, but of course, there were some parts of me that at times did not surrender, did not trust, and was freaking out. And those were the moments, like in any psychedelic journey, that it sucks. It just sucks, right? So, however, the medicine is you. That medicine is you. So from the first journey that I've had, there was this remembrance inside of me that kept just sending all these signals through my whole energetic bodies to say, remember, this is your state. This is your state. And so through those journeys and through remembering that sensation, I began to just like do many things that will appear in my journey. And I will go back to psychedelics. And I remember that I had said at the beginning, that first I wasn't really honoring it. I was like, all right, let's get fucked up. Yeah, let's go party, right? But it was still, even without even having those intentions, of like deep healing, I will still just have that sense in me that I'm whole and I'm unique and I'm powerful. Go back to remember that what I had said, that I was highly suicidal and I was super depressed. I had major anxiety problems. So to feel that, it's like, whoa. And this is why I kept going back during those times, because it's like, I know exactly what can take me out of this and what can help me remember again one more time, because I will go through those journeys of like, yeah, don't even remember anything pretty much. And I'm just going like, wow. And normally in those moments, it's like, all right, can we go back to that? And I'm super grateful for my ex that he just really loves life and loves to enjoy many things about life. So through his experience of life, I was able to like come out of those experiences too, deep, deep, dark experiences of myself. And then when things happened in my life and I chose to go a different direction, then I began to honor every single thing in life. And this is when the deep reverence for psychedelics came into my life. Because I remember exactly how they made me feel without even having an intention. And then I was like, wow, your medicine, let me have the intention. Help me heal my heart. Help me see something completely different. Help me put this balance in my system. Like whatever it is that I need to see, show it to me. And it always did. It always did. And it always just went like, and do you know the most beautiful thing it is? The connectivity, the intelligence. Again, the intelligence of this medicine that is our intelligence. Our intelligence is no separate from us. That is inside of us. And that is what brings me to my knees, honestly. To know that we are it too. And the more that we just be with ourselves, the more that we can just honor who we are in our journey and our lineage and our ancestry and all these things, especially the shitty things that happened to you or the shitty things that you did. And it brings up so much peace and so much balance inside yourself. And then you can feel who you are and what you are. And there's no facades and there's no walls. And it's just all like presence of being who you came here to be. There's no more of like, okay, I have to pretend to be this person, or like, I'll just do this work because it will make my parents happy or whatever. It's like I'm completely happy with who I am because I am living my truth, my authenticity. That's what that medicine reminds us of. Because it's an intelligence and it's so authentic. And at the same time, it's us. It's us. And so going into the spaces, with just so much devotion and knowing that the higher intelligence can help us remember something or can help us activate that in us so we remember. So then we really live, honestly, the life of our dreams. I don't believe that we came here to just, I don't believe that we just came here to do the normal zombie human existence thing. I honestly believe that a lot of us came here to bring light into a different way of living. An authentic way of living, an authentic way of self, the presence of who we are. And through that, we can show it to anybody else, because it's just a ripple effect. The more that you are yourself and the more that you enjoy yourself, like others see it and others feel it, and they just gravitate towards you, whether they tell you or not. They're like, you're so cool to be around. I feel so much lighter when you're around. Can we hang out? And it's just so wonderful. This is what I see in the shift that we're going through in this human experience. There's so many people that I know too, they concentrate on the negativity of everything that is happening. And like, dude, I know. I know that you're feeling that. So let me concentrate on what I feel is best for me and others. Let me spread the wisdom that comes through. Let me be that channel of empowerment. Let me be that channel of love. And I'm going to tell you the truth, which I do. I'm going to tell you the truth, but in a very gentle way. And even though, yes, I do know that there's very shitty things happening in the world, and I trust, as funky as this sound, I trust that they are there for a reason. Just like my darkest moments, they were there for a reason. And when I look at the world being also this wonderful mirror of me and of us, and it's just mirroring this darkness that is still inside of us. How can I love that darkness a little bit more? So it's not so intense in the outside world. Could you imagine how our planet, I'm going to change my words. Can you imagine how our planet is like when we just concentrate in it, when we love our shadows, when we love everything about ourselves and others, Because in reality, at times, especially through these journeys of psychedelics, I just really realized at many times that what I thought I was seeing of somebody, it was just my own interpretation of the energies of this person, but not the reality of him or her or it. And so then it's just like, how do we take these things so personally when we don't even know the entity of this being? And so if we just treat this being as something so miraculous like us, which starts with you, treating yourself as the most miraculous thing ever, then you can treat others the same way. Then you don't look at them and be like, I want to change this about you. Even in their anger, it's like, oh, you're so sexy. Yes, let that anger go. Or even in the sadness, it's like, wow, that's so powerful. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being you. Thank you for crying your eyes out in front of us, right? But it takes that journey inside of you for that to happen and shift in the outside world. And honestly, those really deep journeys within myself with psychedelics and also with the medicine, but without taking the medicine, has brought so much clarity and has humbled me so much in this experience. I began to understand, my parents, like my brother, my friends, my family, myself, my partner, my dogs, my cat, like the whole experience. And it's almost like it takes you into these portals. This is my experience. It takes me into this portals. It's like, okay, there is this thing in your system that is still not in balance, that you're still going back and forth and just having this fight with it. So let me take you there. And it takes me into this portal so I can see the experience from the other person's eyes. Holy shit. Can you imagine that? If you have gone through this, please write a comment. I would love to know. But like this is what it has taken in me, when it guides me. It's like, it lets me see what the other person was feeling, what the other person was saying, what the other person was thinking. So then I just get out of my own way and I can make peace with that rather than just having in my head, okay, this is how it happened, and the victim mentality of whatever else. And so through that, feeling the emotions of somebody else in such a deep level is like, wow, thank you. Because it's not just me allowing myself to feel that in that journey, right? And being guided through it too. But also the other person's energy that said, like, in some kind of shape or form, said, feel this. So then and then we can make peace with this. In my journey, I don't really believe that people are negative. I really believe that we just, at times, we don't even know how to communicate. And again, this is based on my own experiences through my whole awakening process. And that is the reason why I'm very nice to people, because I don't know what you're going through. Because when I was going through really deep shit, it was the moments of like a stranger just smiling at me or a stranger just saying good morning that just took me out of like my suicidal like thoughts. And if we can just do that for every single one of us, that change will just be so great in our planet. So great. But again, it takes deep work, which I'm totally aware of that. It's something that I continuously do, honestly. I don't, in my journey anyways, things have gotten easier, but they have gotten easier because I don't control things anymore like I used to. I surrender and I see everything as medicine and as a blessing. Even in those moments that are like really intense, I just say like, whoa, wow, I don't even understand what's going on right now, but thank you. Thank you for my tears. Thank you for my anger. Thank you for this frustration, that eventually I'll be able to see it. And eventually I do, even if it's like months down the road or maybe hours. And so it is these journeys, that have brought that to me. And it is those journeys also that open up and activated the remembrance in my system. So that my system itself can actually just do that without sitting in ceremony. And what I mean about that, as in taking medicine, right? Because I sit in ceremony with my system all the time. And so it is a way of remembering us. It is a way of remembering ourselves. And that for me is one of the greatest gifts of life, honestly. The remembering that you and me are the same. That even though, like I look completely different than you do, and I have a completely different story that you do, or maybe something kind of similar, like far back, we're still the same. That remembrance is the guiding force of my life. That remembrance is like, yeah, this is why we came here, to share that. To share that so others can remember as well. And of course, had it not been with psychedelics, I'm not even sure, I can't even imagine how my life would have gone through without all those experiences with like psychedelic journeys and stuff. Something so wonderful in my experience, to really witness. And I do have to be pretty honest, there was a couple moments when I was like highly suicidal and just doing really shitty things that I journey, and it was so scary. And I was I will come out and in of my own consciousness, and just like whenever I'll come back, I will just like hold so tight onto the chair, like I don't want to go again. But then when I surrender, I was afraid of myself. I was afraid of myself. And when I surrender, it was just like, I don't want to just say bliss, it hasn't just been bliss. However, even those, like I was saying, those painful experiences brought so much bliss in my life. And so I do believe that the intelligence of psychedelics can bring a different shift in our planet. And I know it has been, I'm so grateful for everybody else out there that's part of their work, and they're sharing their stories. And I look forward to the moment in our planet when that is not censored. Yeah, when we can just speak our truth and be like, this is what has helped me too, How empowering is that? That we can just speak our truth without being censored. And that just brings up so many other different things, that we can talk about it later. But right now, it's just like that intelligence, it's also you. It's also you. And that is like the most important thing that I have experienced throughout this whole journeys. That is also me. And it's also us. And that has no words. Definitely has no words whatsoever. So yeah. Just invite you to close your eyes and really tap into your heart. And just begin to feel the heartbeat and the connectivity to all of us through nature. And as you experience how every single root of trees or bushes or flowers throughout the earth are your veins. And all the connection that happens is your breath. And through that breath, you can remember yourself. Remembrance of who we are or what we are. Blessings.